What's up, everybody? Welcome back to What's Brewing. I'm Mark. Today we're sitting down with Butch Roussel, the owner and founder of the 24-Hour Citizen Project. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and roll that beautiful B-roll. So Butch,
Mark,
my good man, it's good to see you, man. So go ahead and just introduce yourself to everybody back home.
Sure. Butch Roussel. I am not a native to Lafayette. I'm from Hammond, Louisiana, and moved here after a short stint in college. So I'm a University of Louisiana grad, and been here since about 2011. Married a Cajun girl and never looked back.
So you're an implant.
I'm an implant, that's right. Yeah, but I'm also, I left for a little while, went off to Maryland for graduate school. And, I had a choice when I moved back to Louisiana. It was like, where do I want to live? Do I want to plant my roots in New Orleans, go back home? And I somehow ventured to Lafayette just for a fun weekend getaway and ended up buying a house. So that's what landed me here.
So you went to Lafayette for a fun weekend getaway and bought a house?
It was an expensive weekend.
It was expensive. Oh yeah, so let's kind of like get into the meat and potatoes of it, man. So the 24-Hour Citizen Project. Yeah. For a lot of people probably at home, this might be the first time they heard of it. So go ahead and just kind of talk about it. What is the 24-Hour Citizen Project?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And it's actually a question that we've been pondering for a while. Like, what is the best way to describe the 24-Hour Citizen Project in just a couple of sentences? And so that kind of looks like this. It's like Shark Tank for community projects. And so what we do is we recruit great ideas from citizens in Lafayette all year long. We vet those ideas, we select the best ideas, and we bring them to a pitch event where we pair those ideas with subject matter expertise and financial backers in hopes to get the idea done. Now, there's an element that's really exciting. So it's the 24-hour period. And so the whole idea is, we all have day jobs. And when we looked at this concept initially, trying to think like, is this something we really want to do? There was a gap in the community that needed to be fulfilled. And that was ordinary citizens that didn't have the backing of a nonprofit or a for-profit philanthropy, didn't really have an outlet to get things done. Like if I said, Mark, how do you create change in your community? That looks very different to you as it does to other folks, right? And so the 24-Hour Citizen Project was started under the idea that we want to provide a recipe for citizens to get things done in the community within a short period of time.
That's probably one of the best definitions I've heard. And so for a little info for the people back home, that's how I met Butch, was through it. We worked in the same office building for a while. We both were working for different companies, but in the same office building. And he kept telling me to go to these community events. He kept telling me, like, you need to go to these idea exchanges. Yeah. And I was like, what's the idea? Just go, you'll like it. Just go, you'll like it.
We could go and hang out.
We can go and hang out.
That's an easy sell to anybody.
It is. Now, mind you, I drank coffee when I came, but yeah, we did that. I did idea exchange, and just while sitting at the tables, which I'll let you kind of describe a little bit more of the idea exchange part of it. But while sitting at the tables, I didn't have an idea, and then like by the fourth person I sat with, I had an idea.
Right.
It was kind of not like kind of cool. Like as you're sitting there, you kind of get inspired as you're going through the process, and all of a sudden you have an idea. It's like, I got something to pitch.
Yeah.
Let me see about this.
Right.
But go ahead. So idea exchange. So that leads into the 24-Hour Citizen Project. It starts with the idea exchange.
It does.
So what is the idea exchange?
The idea exchange, another way to brand an idea exchange is to call them idea speed dating events, right? Which we did initially. This is kind of like the fun fact about idea exchanges is we learned that the best way to recruit people to do things or to get great ideas from folks is to get them in person. And so we said, you know what, like let's launch an event. We'll call it Idea Speed Dating. And it's essentially what it sounds like. So, you'd show up to a speed dating event and you would talk about yourself, but this, in exchange, you're sharing an idea that you might have for the community, right? And it's not a formal or a perfect idea, right? It's just an idea. And you only have about 3 or 4 minutes to share it with the person before you go to the next chair, right? So there's not a huge commitment. And so what we learned over time is that, people started showing up thinking that it was actually a dating event, and so we had to rebrand the whole thing.
So it was called Idea Exchange.
It was called Idea Speed Dating.
It was called Idea Speed Dating.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying no. I thought you were saying it's kind of like no. You actually called it Idea Speed Dating.
Idea Speed Dating. Yeah, and then we really
you realized real quick that was a bad idea.
Real quick, yeah, probably after. But it's one of these things. You throw something to the board, you see what sticks and how it goes, and then you pivot. And so that's what we did. But yeah, the idea exchanges are very much the foundation for what we do. Because there are conversations happening all around town right now where there are opportunities to share ideas. And unfortunately, they're just that. They're ideas that are left at the water cooler. And so what if we were able to provide a space where people can come, share an idea, and then there's somebody sitting across from them that says, Mark, that idea actually has legs, and I know how to get it done. And we could actually help provide the resources to get it done. All of a sudden, Mark's idea could potentially become a reality through a process called the 24-Hour Citizen Project.
It's awesome. It really is. It's an awesome concept and idea. So what are some of the ideas that have sparked from the 24-Hour Citizen projects that currently you can see in the Acadiana area community working?
Well, I have to take you back to day one. And I didn't...
When was day one?
Day one was probably about 5.5 years ago.
Okay.
And whenever we launched this concept, we actually called it Civic Side. And it was launched as a crowdfunding website. And we had spent a whole lot of time, and it was around the time where Kickstarter was big. And one thing that we learned through a lot of research and trying to figure out how to get things done in the community and rally people behind ideas was that projects that were crowdfunded, that were in the public domain, right, or that were community-based projects, had a 70% greater likelihood of getting funding. And so we thought, well, what if we just had a crowdfunding website that was a platform for nothing but community projects? And so we launched, this was about 5.5 years ago, and at the time, downtown, Kate Durio was wanting to build a parklet in a parking spot. And we thought it was a great idea. Our first question was what a parklet, and we learned, what a parklet was, like a little sitting area that takes up a parking spot that you build. And we decided to launch the website on the same day that we would fund the parklet, right? So it was kind of a double effort. And that parklet was funded within 6.5 hours of being on our website.
Oh wow, that quick.
That quick. And so what we learned was that people really cared about their public spaces if you gave them an avenue to. And so I mention that only because 5 years later, if you go downtown, there are parklets outside of, there's multiple parklets. And what it forced the city, I think, not so much force, but I think it was a very welcoming message to the city to say, well, this is something that's cool that business owners may want to build. We need to develop some guidelines on how to do this. And so since that time, we've got parklets downtown. So I think that's a very visible project. But obviously, under that same concept, we worked with downtown on the Y Lafayette letters. That's in Parc Sans-Souci. We've had a number of public art projects. We had We have some technology projects. We have an Adopt a Storm Drain project that was actually funded in 2019 that's ongoing, and it's, for your viewers that don't know Lafayette well, we have a flooding problem, right?
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. And so a lot of the solutions are like millions and millions of dollar solutions where, this one team stood up and said, look, I want to, I want to create a platform in the form of an app or a website so folks can come and adopt a storm drain. So Mark, you can adopt a storm drain by your house, and before a rain event is coming, you can clean it out to make sure that it functions properly. So those are the kinds of things that people come up with. But obviously, we've got, our categories are, everything from from arts and culture to education to food, and then we have a fun category too, right? So like these are for projects that don't have to fit within a particular category. So anyway, that kind of gives you a little bit of an overview of what the projects kind of could be. Now here's the other thing that I mentioned about the projects, is these aren't projects that are $100,000 projects. These are intentionally left small. Why? Because we believe that micro successes build great projects and great community assets. The example of a parklet was a $2,000 parklet that led to kind of this snowball effect of other businesses getting excited about it and building themselves. So the projects are made small for that reason, but also made small because these are citizens that are pursuing the projects themselves that typically have jobs during the day. So they have to be feasible in that regard.
That's awesome, man. So you guys are ranging everything from art projects for the community. I remember I saw one that was about almost like helping prevent food deserts, to all the way to helping with the sewage problem or the flooding problem with Adopt a Storm Drain. Right. That's pretty amazing. What are some of the things they have this year that's exciting?
Oh man!
If I know correctly, the event's November 6th, correct?
Yeah, the event's November 6th, and it's really interesting because you never know what you're going to get every year. And that flood of applications comes through, and you start looking at them, and you start saying, "Oh, this makes sense, right?" Like the community needs are represented in the application. So we've got we believe it or not, we had a lot of performing arts projects come through this year. We've got like a pop-up theater concept that's coming through. We've got, and then there's another project that's built to recruit males in the Creole Nutcracker program that's launched every year. So that one's coming through. We've got a what we call EAT. It's Elite Athletic Training Program. This is pretty interesting.
Wow, it's totally different from what it stands for.
Yeah, I know, right? But what this project has done over the last couple of weeks is they launched a for-profit company that essentially trained, kids on techniques, to help build their level of athleticism at their sport, right? And what they realized is that, training the athlete is only half of what these kids are needing. They need to be student athletes, and so they're launching a tutoring program within this, this kind of elite athletic training program that they launched. So that's coming through. A lemonade stand brought by the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't it going to be cool? So it's it's more than just a lemonade stand, obviously, but there's a whole educational, entrepreneurial spirit behind it. Anyway, just a lot of really great stuff that's coming through that I think people will really, really like.
So whenever you first, because we found out, like you said, it was 5.5 years ago is when you first started. Now, the parklet was the thing that sprung the ideas. What is the ultimate goal, besides just here in Acadiana, what is the ultimate goal of the 24-Hour Citizen Project?
It's a good question, and we think about this a lot. Because every year we are reminded of why we do what we do. And we have to check ourselves and make sure that we are doing this because we're providing a community benefit. So that is the thing that we constantly evaluate. But the other is a conversation that comes up every year because there's an audience member that finds one of our volunteers and says, how can I bring the 24-hour citizen project to my community? And so the short answer is we're not there yet. But have we discussed building out a playbook on how to get this done in other communities? Yes. And the other thing that I believe makes a 24-hour citizen project unique, and we haven't really pursued this fully just yet, but every project that comes through, we have a kind of a process in place for documenting it. So Mark, if we fund your project, which by the way, we didn't talk about kids in media. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
So your viewers don't know.
I had a project that got funded, called Kids in Media, where we help underprivileged kids learn how to start a career in media and teach them how to do that.
Yeah. Exactly, and then that should have been the first project on my list. But what we do is we do this series of Dear Community Letters, and it's a project's effort to document how they're getting their project done. And so, the idea is that we continue to pursue projects and document how projects got done, and then, potentially one day, if there's a community that's interested in forming a local Mardi Gras parade like Crew de Canaille, another one of our projects, or launching a musical instrument library in their local library like another one of our projects, there's sort of a framework to help get that idea implemented based off of the lessons that we've learned. So I think growth is certainly a mantra in trying to safely expand the 24-hour citizen project, but also letting the lessons learned amongst our projects be something shareable and adopted by other communities. Those are the two things that I think really we have the potential to do, and I think we'll get there hopefully one day.
That's awesome. It's like, for me, I'm not only because I was able to get involved with it and able to pitch a project, but to me this is something that I feel that should be spread around to more communities, because the idea of having the community help better their community, having the community work as a whole to try to lift it up and make it better is something that's the foundation of if anything, just the foundation of what our country's built on, as the foundation of who we are as people, and if they had more things like this that can help out more people, I think we'd all be a lot happier.
I think so too. And, there is this mantra, and I have mixed feelings about it, but you hear this all the time, that the same 10 people do everything, right? And so meaning you've got a small percentage of a community that usually takes the baton and gets stuff done. And imagine if you were able to take that less than 10% and grow it to 20% or 30% through small micro success projects that are feasible and could be executed rather quickly. And you tie that to a recipe where you're funneling citizens through kind of this fun and interactive process to get things done. I think you have the ability to impact communities. So while projects impact communities, I think people are impacted by the process. And so, it's a double benefit, I think, for communities for sure.
Butch, it's been amazing getting to sit here and talk to you about this. Personally, it is something also I love. It's probably one of my favorite things that Lafayette has is the 24-hour citizen project. So if there's more people out there that want to get involved, what's the best way to reach out? What's the best place to go? Where can they find you?
Yeah. So obviously they go to 24hourcitizenproject.com. We've got a Facebook page. We've got an Instagram page. We've got our big event. So we've got our 24-hour citizen project event on November 6th.
Which I believe this airs on the 5th.
Yes.
Of course, this is pre-recorded. This airs on the 5th, so technically from when you're seeing it, tomorrow.
It will be tomorrow. That's right. And hopefully we have all of our ducks in a row. Yeah, it will be tomorrow at 6 p.m., assuming this airs on November 5th. And this is sort of informal at this current time, but we're going to have it at Acadiana Center for the Arts. So it'll be downtown. There's a loading dock there where we're going to lift up the garage door. We're going to throw some chairs in there, build a stage, have a tunnel, and call it a day.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What better way to come together as a community?
You hang string lights anywhere, and a place will work. So it's going to be a really, really good time. We hope you can come, Mark, and all your viewers.
I'll definitely be there. Awesome. Definitely be there. Well, Butch, again, thank you very much for everything. Thank you for sitting down today with us. And you heard him. Go find him at 24hourcitizenproject.com. And also, if you're able to go out on November 6th at 6 p.m. at ACA, go ahead and check it out. But that's going to do it for us here over at What's Brewing. If you liked what you saw here, hit the like button. If you want to catch more of the stuff that we have coming out, hit the subscribe button. And we will see you in the next one.